Good morning, Grinnell. First, congratulations to the class of 2026. I just met some of you this weekend, and I was already emotional when you were walking in. So I also want to extend congratulations to your family and friends for whom today is also such an exciting moment. I know that it is not always easy to get to Grinnell, whether from inside of the United States, and especially now for those traveling across national borders. Welcome to those of you who are here today, and love to the family and friends who could not be. I want to also start by recognizing Sam Harris and Valerie Strog, my fellow honorees here today. You both remind us the importance of confronting our history and educating the world about the horrors of the past in the hope that we do not repeat them. Thank you for your service. And to Sam's family, we honor Sam here today and his profound legacy. May his memory be a blessing. Thank you, President Harris, Board of Trustees, and all of you for welcoming me back to Grinnell and letting me be a part of this beautiful day. So, what an exciting time to graduate it is, with everything going so well here in the world. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, it is not going great, but I have good news, sort of. It's not been going great for a while. So you're not alone. And while I was preparing to come here today, I listened to a lot of commencement speeches. Trying to remember my own graduation experience, I decided to listen to speeches from 2004, the year that I graduated from Grinnell. I know that my skin looks really good, but I am actually quite old. It was 3 years after 9/11. Our government had initiated multiple wars abroad. It had escalated its so-called war on terror, expanded surveillance, criminalized immigration, and attacked LGBTQ people. Maybe this sounds familiar. In many ways, 2004 was a predecessor moment to the one we find ourselves in today. At one commencement that year, Toni Morrison told graduates, "I don't think we can rely any longer on separation of powers, free speech, religious tolerance, or unchallengeable civil liberties as a matter of course." And as always, Toni Morrison was prescient, but that year her words were timely, and in a way, they're evergreen. We can never just reflexively rely on what has been to ensure that we are going to inhabit a world that we want. One of the scariest parts of getting older and leaving college is recognizing the active role you have to take in shaping not only your own life, but also the world. But more good news. None of that happens alone. I'm not a fan of the notion that it is incumbent upon the youth to save us, that the next generations will clean up the messes that we leave for them. This is not on you alone. We are in this together. And though, especially after this weekend, I'm guessing I have a lot more to learn from you than you have from me, since I'm up here, I'll go first in offering ideas on how we chart this more capacious future for ourselves, for each other, and for all those generations that come after us. To start, be gentle with yourself. Let your life be messy and nonlinear. One very strange thing about having the kind of semi-public life that I do is that people start to construct stories about you that bear no resemblance to your actual life. Maybe if you Google me, but actually don't, it looks like I had an unwavering path from high school to college to law school to a life as a successful litigator. But the truth is, I had already dropped out of one college by the time I even got to Grinnell, and when I drove away from Grinnell after graduation, I did not have a clear next step. I moved into my mother's house and watched a lot of CSI on DVD. And even if you don't know what CSI is or DVDs are, you do probably understand that this was humbling and not featured in many profiles about my career. But I needed that time to be lost. to let go of an overly rigid narrative of my life. And this brings me to the next thing that I want to say. Let yourself be surprised. Do not let your or anyone else's ideas about what your life should be get in the way of finding out what might be just right for you. I left Grinnell thinking I would be a doctor or maybe a professor, but definitely not under any circumstances a lawyer. But ultimately, almost every certainty I have had about myself, my life, and the world has been eroded with time and curiosity. My life is close to the opposite of what I thought it would be when I sat where you are sitting today. I stumbled, I failed, and I reevaluated. But what kept me going was realizing that it was okay for things to turn out differently than I had expected. You are all facing an undeniably uncertain future. So, let go of certainty. Let yourself discover what inspires and excites you in unexpected places. And then, and this is important, whatever that is, whatever lights your mind and heart on fire, pursue it in your own way. When I arrived at the ACLU 13 years ago, as a baby lawyer, I felt that I was in way over my head. I had a 6-month-old baby, a new intense job, and it seemed like everyone knew exactly what they were doing except for me. Maybe this is something you feel today, sitting here. And I panicked. I spent my first year at the ACLU trying to be like everybody else. I thought if I could just be more like those Yale-educated lawyers, then I will succeed. But in trying to be like other people, I started to diminish the unique perspective and skill I brought to the organization. I only started to thrive in my work and in my life when I stopped trying to succeed by being like everyone else and started working to excel as myself. And this was not always easy. People questioned whether I could be taken seriously in court, whether I could command a voice in the halls of power, whether I would need a stool to reach a podium, whether I was smart enough. I wondered whether I needed to make myself smaller, whether I needed to abandon fundamental aspects of who I am to make the change in the world I wanted to make. But time and time again, I found I was most successful when I was working and living from a place of authenticity, principle, and a deeply embodied sense of self. And none of that would be possible without staying connected to the people you love. And this brings me to the last thing I want to say. Find your people and do not go at it alone. I do not remember much, I apologize, about my classes that I took at Grinnell. So much so that my friends have asked the dean for my transcript to prove that I did, in fact, attend Grinnell and classes here. I cared a lot about my grades at the time, but I don't remember what they were, and no employer has ever asked. What has stuck with me What has stuck with me, though, are the professors who mentored me, the people who inspired me, and the friends who loved and shaped me. My 3 best friends from Grinnell are here today. We graduated 22 years ago, not just because we love it here, and we do, but because we love each other. At each crossroads in my life, each stressful moment, I have always found my way to the other side because of the people who have held me, who have made me laugh, who have not let me get away with being anyone other than myself. When you find yourself spinning or spiraling or wondering what on earth you are doing with your life, and that will happen, reach out to your people. Over the last few days, I have had the chance to meet and talk to many of you. You embody everything I love about Grinnell: curiosity, an instinct to challenge power, a drive to find joy, and a generosity of spirit. We are all so lucky that you are a part of our collective future. And with care for all you are facing, I want to leave you with this. The world can be harsh and it can be scary, and there will be plenty of people reminding you, work hard, push yourself, never give up. And yes, all of that matters, but I'm guessing you know all that deep in your core. After all, you made it to Grinnell and you graduated. So put that aside from time to time and sit in the softness. Be gentle and curious, laugh and go find art. Never forget that sometimes the most beautiful, unforgettable, and even successful moments in our lives are the ones we had to find amidst the mess, the failure, and the impossibility. So be messy, be curious, be surprised, never give up on yourself, and never go at it alone. Congratulations, class of 2026. I can't wait to be a witness to and a partner in your work and all you do to change the world. Thank you.